Have you ever found yourself trapped in a never-ending loop of thoughts? Worrying about the past, overanalyzing the present, or fearing the future? You're not alone. Overthinking is something we all struggle with. But what if I told you that a 16th century French philosopher had already figured out the cure? Michel de Montaigne, one of the greatest thinkers of the Renaissance, devoted his life to understanding human nature, including our tendency to overthink. His wisdom, written over 400 years ago, still holds the key to unlocking inner peace in today's chaotic world. So, how do we stop overthinking? And what did Montaigne teach about finding peace of mind? Let's dive in. Born in 1533 in France, Michel de Montaigne was a philosopher, writer, and thinker who lived during a time of political and religious turmoil. But instead of getting lost in external chaos, he turned inward. He built a tower, literally, and retreated into his personal library, where he reflected on life, human behavior, and, most importantly, how to find peace within oneself. His writings, called essays, were groundbreaking, not because they provided absolute answers, but because they embraced uncertainty. Montaigne believed that life is unpredictable and that our thoughts often deceive us. Instead of fighting this reality, he encouraged us to accept it. And this is where his wisdom on overthinking begins. Why do we overthink? Overthinking is something most of us do, but have you ever wondered why? Why is it so hard to just let go of a thought and move on? Why do our brains replay scenarios like a never-ending film reel? To understand this, we need to look at both psychological and biological reasons behind overthinking. Let's break it down. 1. Our brain's survival mechanism. At its core, overthinking is a survival tool. Our ancestors had to think ahead to avoid dangers, like deciding whether a rustling in the bushes meant a predator was near. Those who analyzed situations carefully had a better chance of survival. But in the modern world, this instinct has gone overboard. Instead of focusing on life or death situations, we now overanalyze emails, social interactions, and life choices. Things that don't pose immediate threats, but still trigger our brain's fight-or-flight response. 2. The fear of the unknown. One of the biggest drivers of overthinking is uncertainty. The human brain hates not knowing. We crave clarity and predictability, so when faced with uncertainty about relationships, careers, or even a simple decision like what to eat, we keep analyzing. Overthinking gives us the illusion of control, making us feel like if we just think hard enough, we'll find the perfect answer. But in reality, life is unpredictable, and overthinking rarely solves anything. 3. Perfectionism and the need for control. Many people overthink because they fear making mistakes. Perfectionists in particular struggle with this. They want to get everything just right, so they analyze every option, replay past decisions, and try to predict every possible outcome. The problem? Perfection is impossible. No matter how much we think, we can't control everything. 4. Social conditioning and fear of judgment. From a young age, we are taught to be careful with our choices. Society tells us to think things through and weigh every option. While this can be good advice, it can also lead to paralysis by analysis, where we think so much that we struggle to make decisions. On top of that, we fear judgment from others, worrying about what people will think if we say or do the wrong thing. 5. Past trauma and negative experiences. Overthinking often stems from past experiences. If someone has been hurt, rejected, or made a bad decision before, they might obsess over avoiding that pain again. Their brain constantly replays past mistakes and imagines worst-case scenarios to prepare for the future. But instead of protecting them, it often just leads to stress and anxiety. 6. The dopamine trap and information overload. Modern society makes overthinking worse. Social media, news, and endless access to information give us too many choices and too much to think about. Every time we scroll, we see 100 new opinions, lifestyles, and paths we could take, making us feel overwhelmed and unsure about our own lives. Overthinking becomes a habit. The more we do it, the more our brain learns to default to it. But the good news is that it can be unlearned. Stay with me, and I will share with you the way to do this. And this may be one thing that will change your life. So what was Montaigne's key to peace? Embracing uncertainty. If there's one thing Michel de Montaigne understood deeply, it's that life is uncertain, and trying to control it only leads to suffering. He believed that the key to inner peace wasn't in finding absolute answers, but in becoming comfortable with uncertainty. But how do we do that? How do we let go of the need for control and accept that not everything in life has a clear answer? Montaigne's philosophy offers us a powerful approach. Let's break it down. 1. Accept that you don't have to know everything. Most of our overthinking comes from one simple fact: we don't like not knowing. Whether it's worrying about the future, analyzing past mistakes, or trying to predict how people feel about us, our brains crave certainty. We want clear answers, guaranteed outcomes, and no surprises. But Montaigne challenged this idea. He believed that it's okay not to have all the answers. In fact, trying to figure out life too much is what makes us anxious. He famously said, "Que sais-je? What do I know?" This wasn't a rhetorical question, it was his philosophy. He didn't assume he had everything figured out. Instead, he embraced doubt, curiosity, and imperfection. He understood that life is unpredictable, and instead of fighting it, he accepted it. The lesson here is to let go of the pressure to have everything figured out. It's okay not to know. It's okay to be uncertain. Life isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's an experience to be lived. 2. Let go of the illusion of control. Many of us believe that if we think hard enough, we can control the future. We plan, analyze, and anticipate every possible outcome, thinking that if we just prepare enough, nothing bad will happen. But here's the truth: life is unpredictable. No amount of thinking can prepare you for every possibility. Montaigne understood this deeply. He believed that true peace comes when we stop trying to control everything and learn to go with the flow. Imagine you're holding onto a rope, trying to pull a giant boulder uphill. You keep pulling, exhausting yourself, but the boulder is too heavy. Then someone tells you, you can just let go. That's what Montaigne's philosophy teaches us. We don't have to exhaust ourselves trying to control everything. We can release the need for certainty and trust that we will handle whatever comes. Instead of resisting life's uncertainties, learn to flow with them. The less you try to control everything, the more peace you'll feel. 3. Be comfortable with change. Montaigne saw that people resist change because they fear the unknown. But he also realized that change is the only constant in life. Think about it. Everything changes. Our thoughts, our relationships, our circumstances. Yet, we cling to things as if they will always stay the same. Montaigne's advice? Stop fighting change and start embracing it. Instead of seeing change as something scary, see it as part of life's natural rhythm. For example, think of the seasons. We don't resist summer turning into fall, we accept it. In the same way, Montaigne believed we should accept the seasons of our own lives. Things will change, and that's okay. So instead of fearing change, see it as a sign of growth. Every change is an opportunity to learn, evolve, and experience life more fully. 4. Focus on the present, not the future. One of the biggest causes of overthinking is living in the future, constantly worrying about what might happen. Montaigne's solution? Be here, now. He understood that most of our suffering isn't caused by the present moment. It's caused by our thoughts about the future. We stress over things that haven't even happened yet, robbing ourselves of peace in the present. Imagine a person walking across a bridge, but instead of just focusing on the steps in front of them, they worry about the next 5 bridges they'll have to cross. That's what overthinking does. It makes us anxious about bridges we haven't even reached yet. Montaigne's wisdom reminds us, just focus on this step, this moment, this day. Instead of worrying about the future, ask yourself, what can I do right now? Ground yourself in the present, and your mind will find peace. 5. Laugh at yourself. Don't take life so seriously. One of Montaigne's greatest gifts was his ability to laugh at himself. He knew that life is too short to spend it worrying all the time. He wrote about his own flaws, mistakes, and embarrassments, not with shame but with humor. He knew that taking life too seriously only makes things harder. Think about it. When was the last time overthinking actually solved a problem? Most of the time, we just stress ourselves out over things that won't even matter a year from now. Montaigne's advice? Lighten up. Laugh at yourself. Realize that life is messy, unpredictable, and beautifully imperfect. The more you can find humor in your own struggles, the easier it is to let go of overthinking. Montaigne's secret to inner peace wasn't about finding absolute answers. It was about being okay with uncertainty. When we stop resisting life's unpredictability and start embracing it, we find a deep sense of freedom. So next time you catch yourself overthinking, remember Montaigne's question, "What do I know?" And let yourself relax into the unknown. Stay with me, because in the next section, we'll explore some ideas on how to stop overthinking following Montaigne's practical wisdom. Montaigne wasn't just a philosopher, he was a man who lived his philosophy. He didn't just talk about stopping overthinking, he actually found ways to free his mind from endless worry. So, how can we apply Montaigne's wisdom to our daily lives? How can we escape the spiral of overthinking and finally experience peace of mind? Let's dive into Montaigne's most practical strategies for quieting the mind and embracing life with a sense of ease. 1. Write it out. The art of externalizing your thoughts. One of Montaigne's most powerful methods for stopping overthinking was writing. His famous essays weren't just for others. They were his way of working through his own thoughts. He realized that thoughts seem much bigger and scarier when they stay in our heads. But when we write them down, they become clearer, smaller, and easier to manage. How to apply this? Next time your mind is racing, try this. Take a pen and paper or your phone and write down exactly what's on your mind. Don't filter, don't judge. Just let your thoughts spill out. Once you see them written down, ask yourself, are these thoughts really as important as they felt in my head? Most of the time, you'll realize that your worries aren't as overwhelming as they seemed. Why does it work? Because writing forces you to slow down and process your thoughts, making them feel less chaotic. 2. Do less thinking, more living. Montaigne believed that thinking is useful, but only when balanced with action. Have you ever noticed that the more time you have to think, the more your mind spirals? Overthinking thrives on inactivity. But when you're busy living, moving, and engaging with the world, your mind has less room for worry. Montaigne's advice? We are great fools. He has passed his life in idleness, we say. I have done nothing today. What? Have you not lived? That is not only the fundamental but the most illustrious of your occupations. In other words, you don't have to accomplish something grand every day. Simply living is enough. How to apply this? If you catch yourself overthinking, take action. Go for a walk, start a hobby, call a friend, clean your space, anything to shift your focus from thinking to doing. Give yourself permission to enjoy life without feeling the need to analyze everything. Once you do that, notice how overthinking loses its power when you're engaged in life instead of just observing it from inside your head. 3. Stop chasing perfection. Good enough is enough. One of Montaigne's biggest insights was that perfection is an illusion. People overthink because they want to make the right choice, say the perfect thing, or avoid mistakes. But Montaigne realized that mistakes are part of life. Trying to be perfect only leads to anxiety and hesitation. His advice? My art and my nature are a great deal more inclined to follow the pleasures of the body than those of the mind. My thoughts sleep if I make them sit. He knew that the mind needs rest, and we should be kinder to ourselves. How to apply this? Next time you catch yourself overanalyzing something, ask, will this matter a year from now? It is important to accept that making mistakes is part of being human. You don't have to get everything right. Once you do that, you understand that overthinking thrives on the fear of making mistakes. Once you accept that mistakes are normal and necessary, your mind relaxes. Fourth, embrace the so what method, a simple but powerful technique. Montaigne indirectly taught is what we'll call the so what method. Overthinkers often get stuck in what if thinking. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if things don't go as planned? Montaigne's approach: challenge these thoughts. Ask yourself, so what if I fail? I'll learn and try again. So what if people judge me? Their opinions don't change who I am. So what if things go wrong? I'll figure it out. This method works because it cuts through fear and helps you see that most worries aren't as serious as they feel. 5. Laugh at yourself. Life is too short to take seriously. Montaigne had a great sense of humor about life. He laughed at his own flaws, mistakes, and fears instead of letting them control him. One of the biggest secrets to stopping overthinking is learning to take yourself and life less seriously. Montaigne's mindset: imagine looking back at your worries 5 years from now. Will they seem funny? Probably. So why not laugh at them now? How to apply this? Next time you catch yourself spiraling in overthinking, imagine telling your problem to your future self. Would they laugh? Would they care? Find the humor in your worries. It shrinks their power over you. This helps because laughter shifts your mindset from stress to playfulness, making it easier to let go of overthinking. 6. Accept that you can't control everything, and that's okay. One of Montaigne's biggest lessons was that most things in life are outside our control. He understood that trying to control the uncontrollable is what makes us anxious. Instead, he encouraged people to focus only on what they can control and let go of the rest. His advice? It is not death, it is dying that alarms me. He wasn't afraid of death itself, he was afraid of worrying about it. And that's true for most of our problems. The problem itself isn't as bad as the worrying about it. How to apply this? Identify what you can control: your actions, mindset, attitude. And practice letting go of what you can't control: other people's opinions, the future, the past. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Acceptance reduces mental resistance, making it easier to stop overthinking. Montaigne didn't believe in complicated solutions to life's problems. His wisdom was simple: write your thoughts down. Do more. Think less. Forget perfection. It doesn't exist. Use the so what method. Laugh at yourself. Let go of what you can't control. In the end, peace doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from thinking less. So take a deep breath. Let go of the noise in your head. And as Montaigne would say, just live. What have we learned from Montaigne about overthinking? More importantly, how do we actually apply his wisdom to our daily lives and find true inner peace? The truth is, overthinking isn't something you can completely erase. It's part of being human. But Montaigne shows us that we don't have to be ruled by it. He teaches us that peace isn't found by thinking harder, it's found by thinking less. Let's wrap this up by reflecting on what inner peace truly means and how we can move forward with a calmer, clearer mind. 1. The secret to peace: embrace imperfection. At the heart of Montaigne's philosophy is a simple truth: nothing in life is perfect. And that's okay. Think about it. What's the number one thing that fuels overthinking? The fear of not making the perfect decision. The anxiety of not being good enough. The worry of not controlling the outcome. But Montaigne reminds us, life was never meant to be perfect. He accepted his flaws, his mistakes, his uncertainties, and in doing so, he found freedom. We can start the process of change by: stop trying to figure everything out. Accept that things will go wrong. Embrace the messiness of life instead of resisting it. Inner peace comes not from having all the answers, but from being okay with not having them. 2. Overthinking solves nothing. Living does. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you overthink, you never actually solve anything? Montaigne knew this. He understood that our minds love to go in circles, but at the end of the day, it's action, not thought, that moves life forward. His advice? When you catch yourself overthinking, get out of your head and into the real world. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to act. Just do something. Even if you're unsure, even if you don't have all the answers. Because here's the truth. Life isn't about certainty, it's about movement. And once you start moving, your worries lose their grip on you. 3. True peace comes from letting go. Montaigne had a unique ability to let go of what he couldn't control. He didn't waste time worrying about what others thought of him, what might happen in the future, whether his life was going according to plan. Because he knew most of our worries never even come true. So why waste precious time stressing over things that may never happen? Next time you catch yourself overthinking, ask yourself, is this something I can control? If not, let it go. Trust that you'll handle whatever comes your way, just like you always have. Montaigne's mindset was simple. The less you hold on to, the freer you become. The power of perspective, seeing life as an adventure. One of the most refreshing things about Montaigne was his ability to find humor in life. He didn't take himself too seriously. He saw life as an adventure, a ride to be enjoyed, not a problem to be solved. And this is where true inner peace comes from, not from controlling everything, not from having all the answers, but from learning to laugh, to flow, to enjoy the journey. So the next time your mind starts spiraling, ask yourself, will this matter in a year, 5 years? Will my future self find this funny? Most of the time, the answer to the last question is yes. And once you see that, you can finally stop overthinking and start living. At the end of the day, Montaigne's greatest lesson is this. Inner peace isn't something you find. It's something you uncover. It's already there, beneath all the worries, doubts, and endless thinking. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to figure everything out first. You just need to let go of what's blocking it. Because once you do, you'll realize you were never lost. You were just thinking too much. So take a deep breath, smile, and as Montaigne would say, just live. If you found this video helpful, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay curious, stay present, and we'll see you in the next video.